Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event.
And Jared, hit me with that flurry.
So I listened back to the last couple flurries, and I keep alluding to this magic in boxing, this rewiring of instincts, and realized that I'd never really explained that the way I would like to. So this is my best attempt at explaining a theory I call Cuddle the Bear. Cuddle the Bear is based on Abraham Maslow's 1943 paper, A Theory of Human Motivation. He wrote a paper called A Theory of Human Motivation, and in it he had his hierarchy of needs, if you've heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So this is some of what I'm basing this theory on. So if you think of being with a bear in the woods, Joe, Jace, you're in the woods with a bear, and you're chasing the bear. Can you think of any reason why?
Yes. Well, I've played this game with you. Yeah. So maybe we're by the river and I see one trout and he's jumping all up into the water. I haven't eaten in a few days. That bear wants that food. I want that fish. I'm running towards the bear to get it.
Yes. So the concept is very, very well said. The concept is that these lower levels, if you look at the graph on the screen, need to be satisfied before you start working on the higher levels. So you're talking about a time when you're willing to sacrifice your safety and security for food or warmth, right? You might want to inhabit the bear if you're cold enough. You will sacrifice your safety and security to satisfy that lower level. And as they go up, you need those bottom levels satisfied in order to care enough about those higher levels. And now this little pyramid here, this little triangle could explain a lot of the struggles we go through in our society. But I'm going to key on this one. So you have a trauma in your life. You run into that bear in the woods. What happens to your body? The hair on the back of your neck stands up. Your heart starts racing real fast. You turn red. Your blood starts flowing. You're ready to run for your life or fight for your life. It's fight or flight. You're having an instinctual reaction to fear, right? Based in the back of your brain and your spine, your instincts, that thing that reminds you to breathe, that thing that will turn your family pet into a meal under the right circumstances. It's what's driving all of that stuff that's happening to your body. It's a fear-related, natural, and instinctual response. Now, what happens when you're a little kid and you live with the bear? You get conditioned to that trauma. You get conditioned to listen to your instincts to stay alive. Now, we've done a lot of studies on drugs. One of them I love is with rats, where they give them food, water, and cocaine. And every 10 or 15 minutes or so, they're allowed to tap one of the levers. They tap one of the levers, the thing comes out, food, water, or cocaine, and all of the rats die using the cocaine over food and water. If you bring that chart back up and think about what I just said, they're putting drugs over food, water, warmth, and rest. Our addiction, our need to feed that best friend of ours that keeps us safe. Our instinct kept us safe as children. All of those times, this is our best friend, and we choose it over food and water, warmth and rest. So, Cuddle the Bear is because You may get hungry enough to try to eat the bear. You may get cold enough to try to inhabit the bear. But you look at that third step, intimate relationships and friends, you will never get lonely enough to try to cuddle the bear. You're never going to be lonely enough to try to cuddle the bear. I'm going to read an excerpt from the letter that got me the exemption from USA Boxing. We often experience trauma or fear that causes instinctual reactions, and those reactions keep us safe. These decisions are about instinct over reason. Your brain prioritizes for you at some point. We learn to react instinctually because it keeps us safe during the trauma we fear, during the trauma and fear we experience. The negative consequences that accompany relying on that instinct are just an unfortunate side effect. Do you follow?
Yeah.
So when your mom finds out you took money out of her purse, when your girlfriend finds out you cheated on her, another big one, satisfying a need. And I don't want to sound like that guy, but it's the big human part of your brain overriding the animalistic instinct. You know, and people go, oh, well, you're married. You shouldn't have done that. Well, you ate your pet. You shouldn't have done that. Well, I was hungry. And I was willing to sacrifice the intimate relationship for the food because of the traumatic situation I was in. You know, over 98% of people stuck in that situation turn to cannibalism to stay alive. We would all do it. But when you ask another person, would you eat another person? They say no. 98% of them are lying. We only have one. Maria was her name. One result. The rugby team there in the mountains. Alive was the name of the movie. There was one that decided she was out of 27, not going to eat another person to stay alive. When you're faced with that trauma and you need to rely on that instinct, fight. So go back to that. We're instinct now. Now, I always, until March 13th of 2018, I always thought I was going to be a psychologist, an individual psychologist. I have a plan to figure out the things that happen to me and take my trauma and turn it into a positive. I'm going to build a path and a key and turn it into a pamphlet that I can walk up to little 7, 8, 9, 12-year-old me and say, here, you can save yourself a lot of struggles if you read this. And it just never came about, because what I came to find out was if I could go back and tell myself, my younger self, anything, I wouldn't waste my time. Because my younger self wouldn't have listened to me. And that's where Scrub Scraps comes in. That's where boxing woke. I woke up March 13th and I realized fight or flight. I can't get there. Bring that chart back up. I can't get there as a psychologist. Look at this chart and think of me as a regular, everyday psychologist. I can't touch food, water, warmth, and rest. I can't touch safety and security. And my number one goal, my first step, is to build an intimate relationship, is to build some trust with them. And I'm assuming if I've got a patient that trusts me and we've built an intimate relationship, I'm assuming that when they go home, they have safety, security, food, water, warmth, and rest, and the ability to build an intimate relationship and trust someone. And I'm telling you that most of these kids that land in therapy, not by choice, don't have that ability. Based on what we're looking right here, you want to build an intimate relationship with somebody who doesn't have enough food, water, warmth, rest, safety, and security. It's not going to happen. Can I go up from there? If I do have someone that can establish the third step, can I go up to the fourth? Prestige? I'm going to make them a level 2 therapy patient? And they can go share that feeling of accomplishment with their friends when they graduate therapy? And then self-actualization. I can't touch any of these steps except for the third one. Now enter me as a boxing trainer, safety and security. I'm threatening your safety and security with the pads. I'm bringing you to that place of fear where you have to choose fight or flight. You have to pick fight or flight. You're going to swing at the glove or you're going to try to duck away from it. And I want you to go toward the glove. I want you to go down and toward the mitt. And that's against everything your instincts tell you to do. Those instincts, those best friends you had that kept you alive all this time and keep you using drugs and keep you depressed and keep you in bed and keep you cutting yourself. Those same things that you learned because it was necessary for your survival. And now you have to tear it down because you're an adult and the bear is gone. And I threatened that. And build an intimate relationship. Teach you how to feel powerful. And then raise you up to that fourth step where you're able to fight somebody else and win or lose. You feel prestige and a sense of accomplishment. And there's nothing they want more than when they've worked through the Scrub Scraps program than to throw the mitts on and teach somebody else what they've learned and make their place in the world on that fifth step with self-actualization. I woke up on March 13th, 2018, and I realized I don't want to be a therapist anymore because I can't touch the people I can with boxing training. And better yet, that trauma-based individual that I'm talking about that's learned to rely so much on their instinct, when have you ever heard of that kid volunteering for therapy? They crawl out of the woodwork for Scrub Scraps. 85% of what I get is that kid. So they volunteer because it's appealing to them. They rely on the instinct that brought them there. And that instinct doesn't work, whether it's fight or flight. None of the things your brain tells you to do instinctually work in boxing. So we start breaking down that instinct. The instinct doesn't work. They learn that the instinct doesn't keep them safe. They're having the instinct, negative consequence. Not when mom checks her purse, not when wife sees the glitter on your face, but immediately you're getting, oh, I must have made a mistake. Yes, well, you were relying on your instincts because they kept you safe and kept you alive to this point. And in this specific situation, your instincts are wrong. And you get it immediately and immediately and immediately and immediately. And it rewires the brain to not rely on that instinct. You placate that instinct. You build the path between the big human part of your brain that doesn't eat people and kill pets and murder and placate that back part and like calm that savage one step at a time, until they're doing something that makes sense and gives them positive results. I present them that new strategy right away. All you got to do is duck and go toward the glove. Duck and go toward the glove. And they learn to make that path longer. They change instinctual reactions with negative consequences into reasonable responses with positive and rewarding results. The end of my letter. There are two of these. I'm going to do the next one next week because I've rambled a little bit, but this is the end of the first exemption request. The next time they think to use drugs, cut themselves, starve themselves, stay in bed, or any other knee-jerk reaction to a difficulty, simply because it's what had kept them safe or made them feel better in the past. Maybe they do it, maybe they don't, but they will have a path between react and respond to work with that didn't exist before. A new path by which positive outcomes can be reached, and this path will become more trodden over time. That boxing training with the pads, troddens this path, develops this path better than anything else on the planet. And in closing, for 15 years, I've been humanizing some of the most animalistic individuals among us. I believe I've had a hand in changing crime, jail terms, and suicides into humanitarian work, college semesters, and job interviews. But there's no way to quantify the positive effect of my work. Even more importantly, however, the negative effect of the lapse of my program can't be quantified either.